All right, everyone. I'm just going to test this to see if if I'm live on these platforms. Let me know if anyone's here. I just realized I was just given a message that I couldn't go live on Facebook. Nice, huh? Those rats. They punished me recently. I guess they suggest that I might not be able to go live. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick. I haven't done one in a while. I think maybe I don't know, a few weeks or a month. If anyone's here, let me know. And so talk about a little about the election, about my big print order, which will be coming soon. I know I got a lot of back orders, some late orders. I apologize. Hey, Mr. Solomon, hail, Hamilton Burger. Thanks, thanks, chiming in, guys. Yeah, I was just thinking about if anyone ordered. I've been very late with some of my orders. I got cleaned out from the Comicsgate customers. I do appreciate the hell out of it, but I've had to make the biggest print order that I've had in a while, so I haven't been able to get around to that until recently. So it's being put together and should get it to it soon, and then that'll be the last batch of the prints of Pigman 1, 2, and 3. Because from here on out, I'm going to do special editions, expanded editions, and then about 6 issues from there, and then do a pigskin hardcover pigskin edition. As I say, it'll be Islam-proof, Muslim-proof. But yeah, just wanted to pop in. If anyone wants to ask any questions or just discuss things, let me know. I just want to mention one thing that has been bothering me a little. Steve Bannon does it. I think Bongino does it. Levin. I can't listen to those guys much anymore. But they have this tendency to praise evil as if they're fighters. They praise the left, right? They say, the left really, they're out there, they're fighting. They're not fighting. What they do is in lieu of fighting. They don't go into a boxing ring. If the metaphor is a boxing ring, right? You got the Democrat and Republican, right? They don't fight the same way. One is fighting honestly and fairly. The other has knives under their gloves. They have poisons. They have this. They have that. They're dirty. They have the referee. The referee gets in on it. So they're not fighters. The idea that they're fighters to be admired is pretty grotesque. Bannon does it more than the other guys. It's like Bannon was thrown in prison by these rats, right? That what's a guy's piece of shit's name? What's his name? Jamie Raskin. Jamie Ratskin. That piece of shit had to do with he played a part in throwing Steve Bannon in prison. And Steve Bannon says, "Well, you got to admire him. Admire him for what? He did an underhanded thing, a terrible thing. He put a non-criminal into prison for 4 months." On a mere misdemeanor, which wasn't even an actual misdemeanor. You don't put, I think he said in his district he was the only guy with a misdemeanor who actually went to prison. But he still clings to this idea that you have to admire them. No. Fight them, expose them, condemn them, absolutely. Admire them? No. Why admire the scum of the earth? Why? I think it's embarrassing. It's ridiculous for grown men to be doing that. The guy's in his 70s. But it's just a constant, and it makes me turn him off. I can't listen to him anymore. And I feel for him because, he just spent 4 months in prison as a 70-year-old man because the leftists did it to him. They criminalized him. He's not a criminal. They did the same thing with Peter Navarro. They tried to do the same thing with Trump. If Trump didn't win this, he'd be in prison within a month or two. Prison for years until he probably dies in prison. That's who we're facing here, and we have to destroy them, beat them. Simply by telling the truth and acting on it. There's no mystery here. It's not like, oh yeah, they cheat, so we gotta cheat. No, you don't have to cheat. They try to criminalize non-criminals, right? All you gotta do is charge them. All you have to do is investigate them. All you have to do, and sooner or later you will round up a number of these absolute criminals who committed actual crimes. That's the difference. You don't have to keep blowing them. Bannon, he blows these guys. He says, you got to admire them. You got the fight in them. It's in lieu of fighting. What they do is in lieu of fighting. They don't fight. the dirty scumbags. Kamala didn't fight to get the nomination. What did she do? She got it. There was no fight. There was no primary. There was no one else. They just wanted to shove her down America's throat because she was the second puppet in a row that they can control. But, the timing, she was a horrific candidate, all this. The American people they didn't want it anymore. They wouldn't have it. And she got her ass kicked. And they got their ass kicked. I mean, she's just, again, the second puppet in a row. But yeah, if anyone wants to chime in, let me know. Or I'll just go. But I just wanted to fire it up. I haven't done it in a while. I had a problem with Google as well. They knocked out my my account. I couldn't do any YouTube videos, couldn't go live, couldn't get my emails, nothing. There was no reason given, nothing, zero. And after a few days, I tried to log in. They said, if you can't log in with your number, try someone else's number. So I did. And I had a kind friend who said, I got 3 numbers and we'll try them back to back to back. Nothing worked. So I was able to, I think yesterday, after 10 times, 12 times, whatever it was, I tried it again. I got through. But anyway, so yeah, that's the thing that was bugging me this past week about those on the right. And it's even more sinister. It's even more venal in a sense where if you admire the scum of the earth, what are you saying about yourself? What is Steve Bannon saying about himself? What is Bongino? What is Levin saying about themselves if they admire that? That means that, usually if you admire something, you want to be that. So, hey, Bannon, you want to be a lying, thieving piece of shit? Is that what you want? You admire that, right? I can't stand it. You can beat them with the truth and by acting on it. That's all you got to do. Yeah, Jimmy. It was very strange. It happened last month. It lasted for like 2 days. This time it lasted for like 4 days at least. No access, no emails, no nothing, no... And also there's another thing that's happening. I can't access my emails on my computer in a certain app that I have. I can only do it if I have to search on this certain platform and go here and there and finally get it. And I think they're piling up also my emails, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's the situation. But again, the one thing that's been bothering me about these right-wingers admiring, quote-unquote, admiring these leftist scum. They lie, they steal, they cheat, they incite murderers. Yeah, they admire the next scumbag and the get-rich scheme, yeah. Wingus Dingus. Hey, I know you're talking politics right now, but I've been working through your Alex series. Really cool stuff. Thanks. Appreciate that. My next step is to get into the art. I went through all of the interviews, all of the... and again, I have a number of books also that have a lot of text, but I'm going to just focus on the art right now. It's probably going to be a lot shorter, these videos, and I just wanted to, make the case that this guy is the guy. He's the greatest comic book artist of all time. He's second to none. He outdrew them all. He really did. I know there are great artists, and there are, and I love them all. I mean, not all. I mean, Al Milgrom, no. Hell no. Don Perlin at times, a competent storyteller, but, Don Heck was good too, but I'm talking about the greats, Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, Romita, and his son. I know his son gets a lot of shit, but he's great. I mean, he's a great storyteller. He might not be as polished as his father is at faces and stuff, but man, he's a hell of a storyteller. Walt Simonson, I'm rereading all his Thor comics right now. It's fantastic. John Byrne, all-time great. Frank Miller at his best. Hey, Mike, Space, Hunt. Hamiltonberger says, do you think you will make any non-political comics in the near future? Yeah, I am not suggesting you should or shouldn't, but just absolutely. I have, right now I'm adapting The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, and it's consuming most of my time. It's a massive project. The novel is about 700 pages. I brought I wrote a really solid script that I believe was solid, and I gave it to a friend who's a great writer, and he said this is good. He loves the novel too. But I was asked by the people who were paying me to make it shorter, so I've been having to cut. A little reluctant, I gotta say, this has been the toughest cut I've ever done. Toughest cuts, but the toughest cuts. But at the same time, I think it's, hey Evan, it's it's working because I'm realizing, some of the stuff that I felt was precious to keep. Maybe not. I can consolidate. I can combine scenes. I can allude to certain things. So I've made a little more peace with it. At first, I was like very resistant because I thought my script was rock solid. I said, "This is the best I can do." Anyway, but as I go through my whole process, as I was telling them, I said, "Look, I read the script, but my script is not the final word on it. I'm not bound by the script because as I go in each process, I write the script, I do all the roughs, visualize the whole book, and then I start doing, all the details and the inking and then the coloring, lettering, and lettering stage is when I really edit the script because when since I've been doing digital lettering, I go through it and I'm like, okay, I can absolutely improve this. I can cut it down. I can refine it, and it gets better and better and better each run through. You write it, you draw it out, you do all the details, and then you come at the end. The final thing is the lettering, and that's the writing. It's lettering in a lot of ways. If you're good, if you really care about the work, it's rewriting. You're rewriting as you're lettering because by this point you own the book, you own the story. It's not mine, clearly it's Ayn Rand's, but it's become, since I'm visualizing characters that have never been visualized before, certain characters like Stephen Mallory and other characters which have never been visualized before. It's exciting, it's awesome, and it's something that you make it your own, even though you're following someone's vision. It's her vision, So yeah, Hamilton Burger. I will absolutely. I have two in mind. One clearly less political, and Fountainhead is not political per se. It's not. It's about individualism versus collectivism. It's about an artist and those out to destroy him and his allies, and so it's not political per se. But again, as I always say, even to people who I like, Chuck Dixon and Mike Barron, I think they're the ones who mainly say it. They say, just entertain it. No politics, just entertainment. I get it, but at the same time, their work is political. Everyone's work is political. Every artist brings their political slant to their work. Whether even if they're trying to fight it, like I'm not going to put any politics in there. You're fighting your natural politics. And by not putting any, even though you are, to me it's obvious when. Here's one example: like someone's politics in art when there's no leftism at all. What you know is that they're not leftists. Actors, if you don't know where the hell they stand politically, they're not leftists. That's really what it comes down to. They're just not. They're clearly not leftists. And same thing with artists. Me. It's very important for me to, especially for the work I'm doing in the Infidel Pigman, it's like I'm fighting ideas, I'm fighting politics, I'm fighting evil people. It's not just the Islamic threat, it's the leftist threat, leftist, as I call it, systemic leftism. That's what I'm fighting in a lot of my work, a lot of my cartoons. Systemic Islam. I mean, they're trying to Islamize the West. They're trying to communize the West. So those are the two big threats to me, and that's why I can't help but go after them in my work. And to me, Adapting to Fountain, it's a continuation of that in a lot of ways. It really is because it fights that kind of collectivism, which is the threat that we face today. I mean, the Democrat Party, it's a collectivist threat. It's a communist threat, really. And Ayn Rand was, to me, not only the greatest champion for individualism, but one of the greatest foes of collectivism. And collectivism, you can round it all up, right? Socialism, Nazism, quote-unquote Nazism, National Socialism. That's what Nazism is. Communism, fascism, all same shit. I got this print on my store called Communazis. It's basically about all of these people. They're all the same shit. And anyone who tries to separate the Nazis with the communists say, they were enemies. They were allies until they weren't. And why weren't they? It's like Muslims, right? They were all together until the break when Muhammad's grandson, when there was a situation where they said, okay, are we going to have a merit-based leader, or are we going to have blood, meaning Muhammad's, his descendant? And, well, they killed him. They killed his grandson, and then there was a shift, a break between the one Islamic group, the Shiites and the Sunnis. They're all Muslims. The Iranians and the Saudis are both Muslims, but they hate each other because they believe that they're the true believer. No, we're the true believer. We're the true believer. Same shit with communists and National Socialists, a.k.a. Nazis. Same shit. We're the true believers. We're the true believers. Same shit. So yeah, Hamilton Burger. I definitely have this one story in particular. It's a fantasy. I got two stories after this. I have my first book, Table for One, Pigman the Infidel. I did thousands of cartoons in the last many years. I won't say that knocked me off, but I have done that on the side to maintain my livelihood and to maintain paying my bills. But that's out the window. So right now I'm full time on the Fountainhead, and I'm going to be releasing special editions of Pigman 1, and there'll be bigger pig-sized issues 1 and 2, and then from issue 3 4 will be all new material at that point. All new material. So that's my hope, that the first issue, the special edition, will be a success enough where I can say, okay, I can continue this. I'm going to read a few more of your comments here, guys. But I just wanted to mention, again, that one thing about these rightist chumps like Steve Bannon, Bongino, Mark Levin, admiring the evil left. Admiring, they use that word. And I admire them for their fight. Again, they're not fighters. They act in lieu of fighting. They cheat, they lie, they steal. They don't fight. If it was a fight, I mean, think about this. If it was a fair fight, they're out. The left is out. It's over. If it was a fair fight, Muslims are out. There's no more battle. They've lost. They lost the battle of ideas long ago. On day one, they lost it. So there is no fight to be had, no ideological fight. They're liars. They're cheats. They're fundamentally dishonest. So there's no, admire them for their fight. Again, the situation is you got a leftist boxer and someone on the right who's a boxer. The right guy just has his gloves, his shorts, right? He's in the ring. The leftist has knives hidden in the gloves. He has poison. He owns the ref, this, that. The audience, he bought off the audience, to cheer him only, no matter what. And so on, and so on. You don't admire that. These guys got to stop. I called them out on X, the war room. And again, I know they mean well and all that, and overall they're good, but to me, it's unlistenable. I'm starting to listen to Steve Bannon again. I gotta say, just for the fact that they threw him in prison, I owe the guy. I feel like it's a debt. The guy really took a hit for freedom. He did. He rejected the January 6th commissions to try to get him into, they try to rope him into into Congress to question him, to bludgeon him, and he wouldn't go. And he had immunity from Trump because he worked for his administration, and they said, you know what? No, we're going to throw you in jail anyway. They played dirty. So if you admire that, you're telling me that you want to be that. If you admire that, you want to be that. It's like this one Catholic priest after 9/11. I remember. It sickened me. The piece of shit was like, you know what? These Muslims, you know what he was trying to say, right? Listen, these Muslims, they know how to put the fear of God into people. Meaning, maybe we should do that. He was admiring that as well. No, you can't cross that line. You're good or you're not. That's it. Fight them with the truth. Fight them. Expose them. Absolutely. We kicked their asses, this time. As I said, it was 2002. I made that one poster. Outvote the steal. Outvote the steal. That's how you beat them. It's a numbers game at that point, Get out there and vote your ass off, as many as you can, and we kick their asses. We don't have to lie or steal or cheat. We kick their asses. So Mike says, I always think of Mike Metzer. Yeah, when I hear Ayn Rand, the guy was obsessed with, yes, he was definitely a devotee. At least he was, I believe he was an objectivist as well. And a great bodybuilder. I believe he was an all-natural one as well. If someone can remind me of that. Maybe he took it early on or didn't after the fact, but I believe that's a case. A Moral Fat 40 ounce. Thanks for being here, guys. I've never read those Ayn Rand books. I want to read it through your interpretation first. I wouldn't. Okay, to see how it leads and flows based on its own merit. Okay, that's a okay. That's a good. That's a good reason to do that. At the same time, the book is the thing. The Fountainhead is the thing. The novel is the thing. Mine is merely an interpretation. I'm not diminishing it at all. I'm giving it my best. I'm trying to visualize. And again, I'm adding scenes. I'm taking out stuff. I'm, adding dialogue, changing things. It's a point where it's going to be mine. It started with her, clearly, but it's to be my interpretation of her novel and trying to keep it true as I can to the spirit of it. If not an actual technical, this is exactly her thing. It's not. It's my thing. But that's a good reason if you want to, that's pretty good. A Moral Fat 40 ounce. Because I would recommend anyone read The Fountainhead first, the novel, and then mine's a secondary thing. It's an offshoot. It's my interpretation. It's not The Fountainhead. The Fountainhead is Ayn Rand's. That's the novel. It's a 700-page novel. Mine is only an interpretation, like the movie is an interpretation. The comic strip that Ayn Rand, they have a copy of, that Ayn Rand wrote the script for, in the early 40s. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. She actually, unlike some certain objectivists today, she wasn't willing to, she respected the art. She didn't say, oh, cartoon strips? Oh, that's beneath me. Absolutely not. I love that about her. She didn't, put her nose up on it. Some objectivists are like, oh, a graphic novel? No one was for it. A lot of people at ARI, they weren't for it. I have a long history of adapting Rand stuff, and I could talk about it at some point. But this one is going, it's going very well. That's all. And I'm really getting the hang of adapting it now, because it's at first, you go through these phases like, I want to interpret this correctly. I want to get the characters. I want to make them look the way she intended them to, and so on and so on and so on. And then you start to get comfortable with it. Okay, I think I can cut this scene. I think I can combine that with this and that and so on. It's incredible. Okay, Mike says, but A Moral Fat 40 ounce. It's a good way of putting it. You want to read it. My interpretation first, to see how it reads and flows based on its own merit. That's a damn good argument if you're going to do it that way. But again, I do recommend you read the novel, because that's the thing. That's the real thing, the novel. So Mike says, I don't think it's leftism. I would have been considered left-wing once upon a time. No longer, even though my politics didn't really change much. It is leftism, Mike. It's communism, socialism, it's collectivism. In the end, it is collectivism. It is otherism, really otherism, altruism. Otherism, always thinking of others above yourself, putting yourself beneath them. That's the great evil that Ayn Rand wrote about. And these evil ideologies, these evil philosophies, these evil religions, they're the ones that really focus on that. Mike says, philosophy precedes politics. Yes, without a solid philosophy, you leave the fate of your soul to chance. Absolutely. And that's why people can be just snatched up by anything, right? They can be snatched up because there's nothing solid about them. Nothing philosophically solid about them, nothing ideologically solid about them, and they can be snapped up. Trevor, skull. Been busy. Just been busy getting these pages done. I just finished a whole stack, and it was pretty damn awesome. Michelle, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Jimmy, the progressives changed the Democrat Party. Yeah. Look, the Democrat Party was once an American party, even though I got to say at the same time, you could argue that, hey, they've been an enemy since day one in a lot of ways. I mean, they were, check out, I got Daniel Greenfield's book, Domestic Enemies, and it's about the left and how evil they've been always. They've always been evil, and how they've been here since day one. And it's a fascinating, premise. And I have yet to read it because, again, I have put a few books aside. I got 2 or 3 books that I have to read, but I got to put them aside for now. I got to kick ass on this project, but I will get back to them. I take these little moments where I read a few books at a time, but I just got to find that window. So yeah, check it out. It looks fascinating. Daniel's a fantastic writer. I drew cartoons for him for over a decade, 14 years, for his articles. A great mind, a great thinker. Daniel Greenfield, he writes a Front Page Magazine. If you want to read a consistently excellent writer, check it out. Daniel Greenfield, Front Page Magazine. I worked there for 14 years, and the economy being what it is, I had to be. They had to downsize, unfortunately. Okay, Mike Hunt said, is it Pigman, the Infidel, or the Infidel featuring Pigman? It's the Infidel featuring Pigman, and again, it's only for the fact that it's not just Pigman, it's the Infidel. It's Killian Duke. He's the creator of Pigman. But for my new special edition, it's called Pigman, period. That's it. Pigman Special Edition 1, 2, and then it'll just be called Pigman. And then, people will get the idea that, okay, it's a comic book within the graphic novel. The comic book, it's two stories. It's, basically what I was thinking, after the Twin Towers collapsed, I got twin stories, twin brothers, Twin Towers, the Albanian flag with a twin-headed eagle, a two-headed eagle, and I kept thinking in terms of dualism. And the Pigman story echoes the brother story. Super Jihad is like his best friend, like a brother, and then the brother is on the other side, and so on. And they have their extreme breaks with each other after 9/11, both of them. Hamdenberger, yeah, thanks. It's just I got two fantasy stories, and it's like, I was thinking years ago, it's like, fantasy, is that a legitimate form of fiction? Yeah, of course it is. But you second guess yourself because you do Table for One. Story takes place in an underground restaurant in Manhattan, and then you respond to 9/11, and then it's like, what? I got these stories, and the one story I have actually came to me before Pigman. The one of the stories that I'll be doing after, it's completely different than anything I've ever done. The art style will be different. The premise will be completely different. It's something that I've thought about for so long, and I'm glad I've been putting it off, because that's the one thing I can really sink my teeth in, an original piece of work that's completely different. So you look at Table for One and Pigman, it's completely different also. Even the art, in a lot of ways. It's fun. So yeah, Mike says, yeah, but did he pepper spray an old woman and kick her down the stairs? Yeah. You're talking about a piece of shit, Nick Fuentes. Now, he's a piece of shit, but she's also a piece of shit. They both are. So yeah, you never go to someone's house, especially, when he's getting doxxed and when he's being threatened. He's an asshole. He's a pure troll. And he's probably a fed. He probably is. He's probably gay too. And he's not that means not that there's anything wrong with that, but the point is he's this alleged conservative, this and that, and he's a piece of shit. And he also has been ripping Trump. And I believe we were discussing it on Comicsgate Live last night, Ethan Van Sciver and some others, that he's probably a fed. He probably is. The guy was at Charlottesville. He was at January 6th, right? Big loudmouth with a speaker and all that, yapping it up, and no jail time, no nothing. What's that about? He's coming out there. He's like the refill of the Richard Spencer, because Richard Spencer was their guy, right? They tried to make him famous. They couldn't, but they tried. The leftist media, that's their boy. They try to say, hey, there's a real movement of white supremacists here. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. You got a few assholes. Rich Spencer, right? Always do. 2020 endorses Biden. We haven't heard from him since. He can't get any media, FaceTime. Of course he can't, because he's a leftist. As is, I believe, Nick Fuentes. He's a collectivist. Admires anyone who admires, this idea that, again, Nazism is right wing is a piece of shit lie. It's a disgusting leftist lie that's been shoved down our throats for years. And unfortunately, idiotic rightists embrace that. Say, yeah, or not, if not embrace it, they concede it in their mind. Like, yeah, he is. No, he's not, dummy. There were no both sides here. You got one side, that's evil. That's what you have. And you got cowards sometimes on the other side, with some really good guys as well. But most of them are cowards on the right. A lot. Way too many. Okay. So Mike says, Mike Menster did a ton of stories, but he was always open and honest. But okay. He didn't look as big as the other guys, though. From what I remember, he wasn't as massive as Arnold and Franco and the other guys. And Lou Ferrigno, I don't think he was, from my memory. Mike, start with... Okay, Mike tells... I think some others start with Anthem. Yeah, it's a short story, less intimidating than 700 pages. Look, I mean, to me, books are books. I don't care if it's 1,000 pages, 2,000 pages. You just devour them. But I know some people look at them like, oh, it's a big tome. It's undoable. Of course it is. Helmut says, some conservatives call Ayn Rand a fake conservative. That's so funny. What are your thoughts? Not asking you to bash her, but she is somewhat kind of controversial. Look, the controversy is the fact that she is a truth teller. She's an unvarnished truth teller. That's what she is. That's a controversy, okay? And they say, oh, she's anti-religion. Yeah, technically speaking, I'm an atheist. She's an atheist also. But she was not a militant atheist in the sense where she trashes religion just for the hell of it at all. That wasn't her thing. You know, she was a great thinker, a great mind, and she was not a conservative. She criticized conservatives and clearly the left. But anyone who says, oh, she, just trashed the right and this and that, look, her villains, anyone who knows this, and some people don't even think about it, right? It's not conscious in their mind, but her villains were leftists. Her villains were communists. Her villains were evil collectivists. That's what they were. Whatever criticism she may have had about conservatives, they were not the end-all, be-all evil in her novels. And that's where where an author, where a philosopher, that's where their main enemy is, the left. That's why it infuriates me when I see these alleged objectivists, especially the ones at the Ayn Rand Institute, which can be renamed the Never Trump Institute, when they vote for these scumbags. Why the fuck would you vote for a communist if you're an objectivist? My dream would be if she wins the landslide and they're deadlocked, in the House. And no, why would you want the scumbags to win? Don't give them any power. Don't give them any life. Nothing. So, written off a lot of these people. Can't stand them. But again, the philosophy holds. The philosophy is sound. The people, whatever. I mean, you can take them or leave them. Some are great objectivists. A lot of them suck. Especially the organized objectivists. A lot of them suck, but I focus on the individual, which is Ayn Rand, her novels, her nonfiction, her philosophy. That's the key to me. That's the thing. Anything else? Good? Cool. Bad? Hey, man, you guys reject it. Trevor says, Ayn Rand was very particular in her use of language. Yeah, she really didn't leave room for misinterpretation. Absolutely not. Though many compromised pseudo-philosophers have tried. Absolutely. That's one thing. They can't misinterpret her because she's so clear. So what they do is they lie. They say, oh, she believed in this. The dummy, Alan Moore, right? The idiot. Oh, it's a white supremacist philosophy. What an absolute imbecile. Imbecile. Liar, idiot about that. His purpose in making Rorschach was to try to bring down Ayn Rand, objectivism, Steve Ditko, Mr. A, the question. And what happens? He becomes the most compelling character in a novel because he couldn't help but be somewhat true to it. And if he was somewhat true to it, he's still a great character. It's so funny. But Mike says, no one in this world does anything without their own self-interest in mind. I read that in a martial arts manga. I found it rang true. Years later, I discovered objectives. Yeah, no one in this world does anything without their own self-interest in mind. If that were only true, to be honest, because there are a lot of people who think others. They place others above themselves. Otherism, altruism, self-sacrifice. They sacrifice their lives for others and for others people's ideas. Wingus Dingus, is the Ayn Rand open marriage stuff true? Never looked into it, but that's cringe if it's true. Yeah, it is. It is. It's. I had a tough time dealing with it. I remember when I came across it, I really had a tough time. It's like I had a similar tough time when I came across Bruce Lee, and he was a womanizer. I like to believe these people are better. These heroes of mine, and they're still heroes of mine. But the difference with Ayn Rand in this sense was It was a situation, a very particular situation with a particular individual. And it was not cheating in the sense where all the parties, all the spouses were told in advance, we have this feeling, we're going to explore it, and we want your consent. However freaky that is, and it is, believe me, and I have a tough time dealing with it. They got the consent. They got the consent of their spouses. Their spouses should never have given them their consent, ever. Ever. They should have told them, look, you're going through something, and you want to go all the way, I'm out. That's all. You can make your choice, but it'll be a lifetime choice because I'm out. Should have done that, didn't do that. So, my cousin said Leonard Peikoff said he'd rather chat with a socialist than an objectivist because he got bored with people parroting Ayn Rand. A lot of people do that, absolutely. I was thinking about, I've read some objectivist authors, right? Not that good. They do parrot her. They try to write like her. You don't do that. You don't do that. You could be inspired by her. I'm inspired by her. I mean, look at my work, Table for One and Pigman. There are elements there, influence, inspired by her, but it's still my voice. It's still me. I don't think Ayn Rand would have created a Pigman. Just first of all, she would have thought about it as aesthetically unpleasing, probably, and he is to some extent. He is, but to me, he's a perfect villain. Perfect for them, the way they see it. He's their terrorist. He's their villain. He's their monster. So from their perspective, he's perfect. This beast coming through their tunnels and taking them out. I think the mango is called Tough. Interesting. Okay, guys. Thanks for chiming in. I do appreciate it. I just wanted to check in. I couldn't go live on Facebook because they tell me they're punishing me for some post. What assholes. I'm just tired of that place. I don't post there nowhere near as much as I used to. Right now it's X, that's it, really, X. I forget that there are other platforms as well, to be honest. What's up, Getter? Yeah, I forget that it exists. The villain said it, actually. That's the thing, yeah, no one in this world does anything without their own self-interest. And again, if only that were true. Thanks for being here, Tiso, appreciate it. Yeah, guys, unbelievable, 37 minutes. It felt like 10. Wow. Haven't done this in a while, so... Yeah, so those who are interested, I'm going to be continuing with my Alex Hoth stuff, with my Alex Hoth series on YouTube. I'm going to be continuing to adapt the Fountainhead to a graphic novel, and going to be launching the Pigman, the special edition. TISA X is going to be the place for all stuff soon. It will, and from what I gather, I hope it's the case, videos and stuff. I mean, think about that. That will be fantastic. I mean, it's like, you know what, you two, you want to fuck around? Okay, you'll find out on X. Then we'll all go there. Enough with this bullshit. Enough with this suppression. It's infuriating. Trevor says, it is my firm belief that Ayn Rand would be sorely disappointed with these current objectivists. Me too, Trevor. She liked the individual and liked individuals that did their own thing without apology. 100%. There's also, it's like, I remember the first crack in the institutionalized objectivism that I had a problem with was the unwillingness to say Islam for the Islamic enemies ideology. I was like, what the hell is this? It's Islam. Why would you secular philosophers be worried about defending this religion to any extent? Why would you be concerned about that? Or downplaying its evil. Why? It's evil. Just call it evil. Instead, they concocted these bullshit terms like Islamic totalitarianism. And I made a joke to them. I said, look, less syllables, more truth. I said, fewer syllables. I said, no, less syllables, less. That's the less than fewer. Less syllables than fewer. So that's why I say less syllables, more truth. Enough of this bullshit. That's the first time I remember I was like, I was disappointed because it's almost 3,000 Americans get wiped out, and they're like, okay, what are we going to call this thing? It's like, it's Islam and Jihad and Sharia law. That's what it is. They already have their names. It's already existent throughout history. What the hell are you guys doing? You're concocting names. So it seems like every institution had their own pet names, right? Islamic fascism, Islamo-Nazism, Islamic totalitarianism, radical Islam, Islamism. The worst was Christopher Hitchens, who was pretty good about these things. But he goes, Bin Ladenism. I was like, that's one of the most pathetic things, that he was trying to bring that entire evil to one man. As in, it's only his. No, it's Islam. It's a collective. Anyway, Trevor, it's infuriating, these guys. I mean, not anymore, really. I'm not pissed off. I've accepted the fact that they sold out. That they sold out the truth. They sold out the philosophy. That they suck on these issues. That they suck against the left. They suck against Islam. They have allowed evil to go unidentified, and they actually will play with it. They'll play with this evil. They will play games, name games about Islam, and they'll vote for communists because they don't like Trump. It's like, hey, what they're doing is like they've become the mad mobs against Ayn Rand's characters. Not that Trump is Hal Rourke or anything close to it, but he's a lot closer to him than he is to the bad guys. And these guys have become like the mobs, the mad mobs, and they're alongside. It's like when you got objectivists and you have Cardi B voting in the same way. It's like, what are you guys doing? I mean, you should be embarrassed. You really should. You guys are supposed to be philosophers, and also you're supposed to be prognosticators, right? You're supposed to figure out what the country might be going, and they're dead wrong every time. It's like, no, we're not going left. We made a sharp turn towards the right, away from this. Hey, Diana. Thank you for doing this live stream. I appreciate it. Good to have you back on here. Me too, even for a little while. Thanks. Mike says, China released a virus in the world killing millions. I heard, yeah. So no reproductions for that, yeah. No, they have to pay a price for it. They have to. They should. The world should have made them pay. But again, the world is what it is, right? Has to be some moral individuals in power who could make them pay because they had to pay. Yeah, Islamic terrorism is just terrorism. It is. But at the same time, it's like they won't call it. They'll call it Islamic totalitarianism, for everything. It's like, it doesn't really work because you have, okay, so what does that consist of? How about the individual on a blog, a Muslim who's promoting jihad? Is he Islamic totalitarianism, or is he just a goddamn Muslim who's promoting his own beliefs? Is he part of this organized thing? Not necessarily. It's a mess. But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for all the give and take. Always appreciate it. I'm gonna get going, but until next time, I just do these things impromptu. I think I try to set up some scheduled things I could never get through. I had to restart, for some reason. I don't know why. But Mike says Australia will sell more farmland to China. That will teach them a lesson. Yeah, they had to pay a price for it, but they had to pay a price for it. They not only did they unleash this virus that was man-made, they lied, and they still haven't come clean. They gotta pay a price. Have to. A serious man. Hello. How's it going? So, any last questions or anything? Let me know. Goodbye. One last thing also. Those who have ordered things have been cleaned out. My print order should be coming soon. I'm going to spend a few days at least getting them all out. Thanks for everyone who cleaned me out. I always appreciate it. Ever since I became part of, Comics Get Kings, people have been interested. It's awesome. Thanks again, guys. Be well. Take care. Until next time. Thank you.